player presses a button in the UI and he wants to change. Now this is okay. The only issue is that we have this interface. So this is gonna be a quick tutorial, just going over get all actors of class function and how to use it. This is barely related to efficient blueprints, but I kind of wanted to cover it since there is also a few more nodes for this, so kind of how you can use it and for what it can be useful for. So in here I just have some test scene with water, just to have something, but it's not necessary for this. So basically get all actors of class node is something that you can use to get any actor from the level or any actors of the same class from the level. And this can kind of be performant functions, so you don't want to use it frequently. So here is kind of few ways that you can use it in kind of a nice way. So usually what I kind of found use for is, let's say we have a game mode, name doesn't matter, let's put it in here, and let's say we have a manager class for something in our level. Let's say we have an actor, let's name it BP water manager. And let's save this, and let's say we have just a single instance of this class in the level. It kind of acts like a singleton, so we're just gonna put it in the level. And I actually had a similar thing for the weather manager, where I had a manager put in the level, and then there is a bunch of exposed variables for different like direct light, sky, stuff like that, that you could kind of link to in your level. So it was kind of convenient to kind of have it directly in the level. But let's say we have our water manager and we wanted to get a reference to it. Now let's say there is few functions that you can call in there and you have different places to call it. So let's say maybe player presses a button in the UI and he wants to change. So we can do like user widget, player presses a button and then he wants something to change. So you could do get actor of class. Before, I'm not sure when they added this and these others, but before it was just get all actors of class, and then you could sort through the array and get what you need. But what you can do is get actor of class. Let's do water manager, and then you can get the reference and maybe call a function from there. You can also maybe save the reference, so maybe you can call it once, or maybe you have like on button click, you can do this. Now I wouldn't suggest doing this, especially if you have one or multiple classes in the level and maybe you need to sort through them with a tag. Calling this every time multiple times, even if it might not be a big deal if it's occasionally called, it's just waste of performance. You can do way better things with little to no effort. So one thing that you can do is, let's say we are in the game mode, what we can do is, let's say on begin play, get actor of class, we can save it in here, we can do, I don't know, whether water, and then we can basically save it in here, and this way it will be only executed once and you always have the reference to the game mode. So we then can do something like this. Now the issue here is that we would have to do cast to new blueprint and then maybe get water, or what did we call it here, and then we can get the water manager and do something like this. Now this is okay. The only issue is that we have this interface, which can cost a bit, but it's a bit better than just doing get all actors of class or get actor of class. So this is kind of one way, which is not bad, especially if this water manager maybe is managed through the game mode. You can do something like this. Another even better thing that you can do in here is, let's actually click like this. Let's do blueprint interface and let's call it BPI game, and we can do something like get weather manager. And now if we implement this interface, now I already created a video for the interfaces, so if you want to check that out, if you're kind of confused what I'm doing here. But basically I'm adding this interface to my game mode so I can get our get weather manager function. Now the issue here is that I didn't assign this an output, so we need or water, something like this, reference, so water manager reference. And then if I go to the game mode and click on this interface, we can basically get a reference to it. And now if we ever wanted to access this, what we would do is type get weather manager, connect it here, and now we can have easy access to our water manager reference, and we only triggered the get actor of class once in our gameplay. And now from any blueprint anywhere we can just do get game mode and get weather manager and get access to it directly. So that's kind of one convenient thing that you can do. Another thing that I found get all actors of class to be used for is, let's say we are in a game mode and we want player start. Let's see, choose player start. So in here what we can do is basically we have this actor object reference, which is basically a location where we want our player to start. And in here in our level, let's see if we already have, we have the player start. We have this actor, and this actor has player start tag. And we can have multiple locations where we want our player to start. Right now it's put in here, so let's see if I click play. Oh, we don't have a player in here. Okay, that's fine. So if we had a player, it would spawn on our player start location. And we can have multiple of them in our level. So it could be, if you are playing maybe like an FPS game, maybe you have different spawn points. So you kind of want to pick maybe random from all of these. What you could do is that every time the player needs to start, you can do get all actors of class. You also have the reference to the controller if you need it for anything. And we can do player start. So this is basically the class of these guys. And now let's say one of them has maybe a tag, maybe player, maybe other spawn point is for the enemy or something, or the NPCs. And then we can do maybe a random. So we just pick random spawn point and we can connect it in here. And now every time the player starts, goes into the game, it will pick a random point between all of these player starts in the level. What you can also do is for each loop, if you want, and then in here you could also do something like get start tag equal, and maybe it's let's say player. So if this tag is equal to the player, we can say okay, we want to go in here and pick that one as our selected starting point. So those are two most, I guess, useful ways I've found for this node to be used for. You could find more uses, but usually you want store references in some way. You don't want to just always call references from the level or try to find them. That gets very expensive. So usually you would use this rarely, and I found it good for if you have like a singleton in your level that just manages something. Usually you can just get it in one of your classes. It doesn't have to be game mode, depends on what's managing. Maybe it's every player has like one actor in the level that does something, maybe, I'm not sure. Whatever you're doing in the game, you can basically select maybe player controller or whatever, and then you can use it for that. Get all actors of class. If you're trying to find a bunch of stuff in the level, in our case here, we wanted to find player starts and then maybe pick one. And maybe also we can do tags, so maybe you can first filter out, maybe you have 10 starting points in the level and one is tagged, let's say red, and the other one is tagged blue, so different teams, or team 1, team 2. And then you can basically maybe first sort your player starts and then just pick one of the ones that say the same as your team, basically. So you're picking a spawn point for your team, so you never want to for player from team 1 to spawn on spawn of the player from team 2. Also there is more of them, so get actor of class. We also have get all actors of class with tag and get class matching tag queries. So this is basically you're just matching tags, actor tags. So if we so if you have a tag in here and you want to match some tag, you can also do that. So I could do get all actors of class, let's say do water manager. Maybe you have multiple water managers, maybe it's local, like we have 5 lakes in our game and every lake has like a lake manager or something. You could do this and then select a tag. Maybe we want to find lake 2 or something, and all of the things for this we can then store somewhere. And it's similar thing for now. I personally, this is kind of a newer ones. I don't remember when I started seeing them, but I think maybe they added it in Unreal 5, I'm not sure. But I haven't used them. I would usually do something like this. But get all actors class with matching query is basically similar, but you can do something like this. So if you have any of the multiple tags that you list in here, you can do this. If you want to match all of the tags, so maybe a tag is, let's say it needs to be metal, it needs to be rusty, it needs to be this and this and this. So if you have like 5 requirements that this object has to have, you can do match all tags, any tags or no tags. So maybe you want to exclude someone with a specific tag. So then what you would do is click on one of these, then you have int tags. We can do from array, but we also have different ways that we can create this. So container is probably pretty convenient. Now I don't have my own custom tags, but here we have Unreal tags. So let's say we want multiple tags, so we want, let's say, these tags. So if the object has, so let's kind of go through the logic. So if the object has all of these tags it will be considered in this output array. So we would have to match these 3 tags. And if you ever wonder just how you would do this, so you'd go project settings, gameplay tags, and then in here you can add your tags and have it in the list. But right now we don't have anything. So yeah, that's kind of few uses, how to think about this. This can be expensive, so you even get the message notification here. This is a slow operation, use with caution, so don't use every frame, but you also don't want to use it frequently. So you don't want to use it like when player is holding a specific button, so it triggers every tick. You don't want to use it if the player is pressing some button a lot, like left click shooting or something like that. Even if it's not on every tick, you don't want something that player clicks 20 times, not 20 times, but let's say 5 to 10 times every few seconds. You don't want for this to trigger a lot. So basically, usually it will be to get some singleton to get player starts or something similar.